So this is a story that I actually used to love to tell. I don't think I've ever told it here. It's an old story. It's a classic story. It's a Native American story. And it's a story that I tell adults, but it's also a story I tell children. Because it's very simple, it's very powerful, and in some funny way, it's probably one of the most important stories. And it begins way, way back, the beginning of time. And the Creator Spirit had just finished fashioning the earth and placing the creatures around the globe. But then came the next step in the process, the addition of human beings. Well, you can imagine the Creator in its infinite wisdom felt into the future and had a few concerns as the planning and preparing was unfolding. In every iteration of the story of the universe, the Creator sensed some deep despair, some deep imbalance in the future of the human species. And so the Creator, being wise and democratic, decided to invite all the creatures together to help solve this problem. And the Creator said to the creatures of the earth, "We have a new creature coming, and this one will be more powerful than any of you, will have great abilities and an incredible influence on your very future, but also some great weaknesses. So I need your help. We need to find a way to make sure that no matter what comes or goes, that human beings can eventually, or always, or in time, whenever they try, find the truth. Find their way back home. Remember what it means to live in balance. Remember what it means to be connected to all things, so that no matter what power they may create, they will be able to return to the design of this beautiful universe and this incredible world we are creating together." Well, of course, the animals all, jostled for an opinion. Very first thing that happened was a shark, kind of aggressive by nature, comes up to the water's edge by the meeting place and said, give it to me. Whatever this secret is, I will take it to the very depths of the ocean. And that way it'll be safe, it'll be preserved. It won't just be laying around so that people won't respect it, but everyone who really, really seeks it, respects it, can find it. Well, the Creator heard this suggestion and kind of felt into it and said, no, I got a funny feeling. I know it doesn't sound like they're going to be able to swim underwater, but they're going to figure that out. Not only are they going to be able to breathe underwater, they're even going to make machines. What's a machine? Don't worry about it. But let's just say anyone with the right money in their pocket can explore the ocean. Can't be in the ocean. Well, sure enough, the eagle then comes forward. The eagle always being, how eagles are like. Give it to me, and I will take it to the peak of one of the highest mountains. And that way, the wisdom of the universe, the secret of our truth will be somewhere safe. Difficult to get to, but accessible. Well, the Creator felt into that option too. And no, I don't think that's going to work. Just ask Doug here. There's people climbing to the tops of 14,000 peaks all the time now. Creator says, no, people are going to invent a way to breathe at high altitudes. They're going to have teams. There's going to be this thing called Sherpas. Can't do it. I just have this picture of Everest covered in trash and flags from all over the world. Can't be there. Well, it continued, right? All the different creatures. Give it to me. I'll take it down, dig it into the ground, and I'll take it over to the desert. And wherever the creatures thought of placing this wisdom, this love, this connection, this memory of the Creator, just didn't seem right, because wherever on earth the creatures thought to put it, what the Creator knew was that in time, human beings would come to destroy those places, to run through them with tractors and hotels, and couldn't think of a place on earth. And then a little voice. It's always like that in these stories, right? A little mouse pushes its way through all the legs and tails and feathery wings and says, I know, I've got the answer. And all the animals look around like, who said that? And the mouse said, down here, down. And they all started laughing, right? I mean, come on, it's the dawn of creation. We have eagles, we have sharks, we have all these majestic creatures. And then the mouse thinks it's going to come up with an answer that no one else could think of. And the Creator, of course, being equal opportunity, as the Creator is, says, hang on, everyone, let's see what she has to say. And she says, I've thought of a place, the perfect place to hide the memory of God. Every human being will have equal access to it. Every human being will have it close at hand, and yet few will do the difficult work to find it. Where could that be? And of course, the mouse said, as you probably are already guessing, in the heart. You place the memory of God in the heart of each person, because they'll never see it. They'll be too busy looking outward, trying to find God in things and experiences and all the stuff of life. And only those that are patient and humble will discover that they've been carrying it all along. And Michael, you reminded me of that great story. And I think that that story encapsulates really what I wanted to share today, because the topic was, where do we find God? But it was kind of a trick topic, because of course, what I was hoping was that people would think, gardens and nature and music and all these things. But interestingly, as it said in the song that Chris so beautifully sang, and if you want to look it up online, the lyrics are great. It's called Child of the Wind. At the end, it says, you might need to help me out, little round planet in a big universe. Sometimes it looks blessed, and sometimes it looks cursed. It depends on what you look at, obviously, but even more, it depends on the way that you see. Sounds like Dr. Seuss. But it's the truth. The message is it's not really what you're looking at. I mean, that helps. And we've talked about that before. Find the things, the people, the symbols, the music, the practices that remind you what you know, who you really are, where we come from. But more significantly, let us work to change our language, to change our attitude, to change our worldview, so that we stop looking for that which we already are. That this notion of finding God becomes absurd. That would be like me, well, it's just like me. I was going to say, it's be like me saying to you right now, where's Jonathan? I'm finding Jonathan. I'm looking for Jonathan. You'd say he's right there asking the question. But a better example would be, it's sort of like me getting ready to come here in the morning when I say, where are my keys and where are my wallet? My wife says, did you check your pocket? And I find everything that I needed right there. So this becomes the heart of the message is not really where do we find God, but why are there places we don't? Why do we even use the language that affirms a reality that is false? Seeking God, finding God, looking for God. And that is not in the spirit of which this community comes. The very divine science tradition is about the affirmation of what is as it is. So I wanted to share a few things that perhaps you can reflect on or take home. A few changes, if you will. You can get your pens out. No, you don't have to get your pens out. The first is to consider moving from finding to acknowledging. Consider letting go of the word finding or looking and replace it with acknowledging. Doesn't that feel different? I'm acknowledging God in life. I'm acknowledging God in the world. I'm acknowledging God in this moment, as opposed to I'm looking for, which is just pushing that awareness away. The second, and I thought this sounded clever, but it may not really sound that clever to you. When you look at life, instead of taking it personally take it. It's a play on words. What does that mean? Instead of taking it personally take it. What it means is that everything in life, as an expression of spirit, reflects the very design of God, is God. And therefore, there is the opportunity for personal meaning, connection, feeling, energy in every single moment. But it's not personal. And that's a subtle little nuance. To be able to take everything as relevant to you, important to you, empowering to you, significant for you, but none of it's about you. That's a little nuance that will radically change any situation. Which means if things don't go well in a moment, I'm going to personally take it and seek that lesson, find the symbolism, look for the way the design of the universe is communicating to me in that moment. But I'm not going to invest my energy in why me. Because that whole language of why me supposes a different kind of spirit. One that is more like a person. This is tricky for us because spirit feels intimate. And we relate through all our personal qualities of emotion and mind and preference. And yet, the love of the universe is its design, not, at least not from a mystical perspective or from a divine science perspective. It is not a universe in which there is a person picking sides and choosing favorites and giving Michael some special reward later today just because he played a good song, and you get nothing because you had a negative thought about your family. I don't know what that game is, but it's not ours here. And yet the balance is to remember that that doesn't mean that our thoughts and feelings are not felt by the universe, registered by the universe, responded to by the universe. But that's because of the guiding, organizing design of the universe. Not because someone decided to choose you over someone else. Does that make sense? The guiding, organizing design. If that's hard to remember, just use the acronym. Guiding, organizing, design. That too is God. And yes, some of us feel that answer as a voice, and some of us might even encounter it through a being. But of course, spirit is much more. And so this leads us to the last two opportunities for a little twist, a little change, which is consider giving up control for responsibility. Control is sort of like when responsibility goes off the rails, right? Because usually most of our responsibilities come from the heart. We want to do good things in the world. We want to have good influences. But then it starts to happen a way we didn't expect, and suddenly we slide into something else. And then rather than trusting that guiding, organizing design that somehow spins the planets and brings the flowers up every spring and turns the twinkle of an eye between two people into a college graduate, suddenly we think that that infinite wisdom is just not infinite enough. So we better jump in and take control, because we've done such a good job so far. So, if the energy of control and the desire of control hasn't worked for you, I'd suggest try moving to responsibility. Responsibility implicitly suggests accountability, interconnection, but most significantly, even in the word, responsiveness, which means one moment at a time we see what happens and we respond, and we respond, and we respond. And when we feel that hunger for control, for the things to go the way we want them, we breathe it out and remember, this too is God. This too is God. And there is a personal impact here, but this is not personal. And finally, we move from meaning to mystery. Imagine that. In this magnificent world of spiritual seeking, so intricately built on the castles and the labyrinths of the mind, we find that true spirit rests somewhere the mind cannot go. And so when we encounter beauty, when we sense spirit, when we feel the presence, sometimes it's enough just to hold the mystery, to not make sense of it, not figure it out, not see or feel understanding as the ultimate goal. For true understanding is not of the mind, but it's a feeling, it's an energy, it's an awakening of the soul. It's a remembering. It's a knowing of the truth that God is not out there. God is within and everywhere around us. And then if we can just shift these little things, how we look at the world, acknowledging spirit more, not taking the universe so personally, embracing mystery, looking for lessons and resting in the affirmation of this universal presence, then we find that things change. So let's just take a moment and close this reflection together. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And I'm going to invite you to consider some places in your life where you seek control, or where you don't like the story. And is there a way that you might be able to see it, feel it, and then breathe out that strong desire to control things? What would it be like just to affirm and acknowledge there is spirit in that also? Without having to fix it. What if you were just curious about it? What would it feel like to hold it with curiosity? What would it be to truly give in to the feeling that this is something you just don't fully understand, but you know it, like all things, exists in this guiding, organizing design? And then, with a profound sense of responsibility, what is the wisdom that lies waiting within this experience, calling you to open your heart and open your eyes to experience Spirit as it is, everywhere, always.
Of the sparks in heaven, all of the dreams in the sea, all of the songs coming out of the earth, all that connects you and me. Out of the north there's a howling, and up from the south there's a hum. Threads in a fiber outlasting the earth, in the hands of a weaver become. To all the littlest creatures and all the great beasts on the plain, all of God's songs coming out of the earth, and in the heart of a dreamer remain. So to all the littlest creatures and all the great beasts on the plain, oh, all of God's songs coming out of the earth, and in the heart of a dreamer